All right. Do you want to do a roll call, Aaron?
Yeah, I can do that. All right. Andy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Sheila? Absent. Janelle?
Here.
Jasmine? Selena?
Here.
David?
Yep.
Aaron here. All right.
All right. Everybody had a chance to review minutes from last meeting. So I will take a motion to approve minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aaron, have we received any public comment?
We have not received any public comment. Is anybody in the audience wishing to speak?
Good morning and Happy New Year. My name is Donald Crenshaw. Not sure, were you able to get the Facebook people on? I heard you earlier saying there was nobody that had logged in. Are you showing anyone?
So the meeting is not, the meeting is, it is being televised via YouTube, but there is no participation via the public online.
Okay, so going forward for 2024.
Going forward, all public comment will be in council chambers for 2024.
Okay, well, I want to thank you guys for doing that, and I think that's a great thing, understanding the importance of the Blighted Property Committee. So with that being said, I want to just make sure I have clarity, and we'll do it in writing as well. But one of the things that I know is the blighted property coincides with the redevelopment authority and some of the funding that was just announced to go in, and I think to address blighted property, I will be reaching out to make sure that we have clarity on how the two sort of hand in hand go together. The funding, the $900,000 that is going to go through redevelopment to address home ownership, blighted properties, and developments. We as a developer here in Erie developed over 25 home ownership programs, renovated last year about 8 houses that we sold. We've combined it with our training program. I'm here to say to this board that it is my goal this year to, first of all, anything that I own or affiliated it with, to get off of the blight list. And we've started with addressing all those houses, and we will continue in writing to say, please forward to me whatever the code violations are that put these houses in blight. One of the requirements that's in your outline that I read that could be considered part of blight is utilities being on. Just recently, this past weekend, I've had 2 police incidents, which we have the reports, where people have broken into my houses that the utilities are on. The electric's on, the heat's on. One person brought a 60-inch TV into the unit, literally bought a bed into the unit, and was staying there while the house was on the real estate market being shown. So we have the report, and I'm asking you that you remove, for a blight condition, having utilities on. Because for the past 40 years, come wintertime, any vacant houses that I may have that we're not fixing up, we do cut the utilities off. We cut the electric off because it's electric bill. And if there's nobody staying there and there's nobody living in the unit and we're renovating or constructing, the electric is cut off. We definitely cut the gas off and the water off. This is a known fact. If you look, it's not something new. We've been doing it. So when you say a property is blighted because utilities is on, I just did 5 houses last week where I cut all the utilities off. I hope they don't show up on a blight list because the utilities are cut off. So that's one of the things I would ask of the committee, that if the property is owned by someone as myself, as a developer, developed over 100 and something units in the city, we're continuing to develop. We just received funding from PHFA to continue home ownership, to renovate and do everything that I think the city's trying to do, and that's keep affordable housing a goal of this city. Housing is a special need that everybody has, and that is a place to rest their heads. Also, I'd like to add that I will be putting a team together to help you with the blight situations. The criteria for a contractor right now, I think, is a little strong. A lot of the smaller contractors can't do everything that you're requiring to be a contractor. Starting literally right here, back almost 40 years ago, as a minority and a 10% goal on every project, we were invited to the table to learn how to do things like concrete, sidewalks, trucking. We did it. I would ask that part of this blight committee, as you address these, that you would reach out into the minority community, as myself and others, that you would invite them in to help you deal with the blight. It can be done. We've done it. If it's boarding up, well, put that out as a contract and let a minority contractor come in and board up the houses that you need to have boarded up. If it's mow the grass, 2708 Downing Avenue, it's one that's on the list. We just had a court ruling that we'll be appealing if we can't work something out. But my goal is to work something out. And that working something out would be to be able to go fix up that house as well as any other blighted house that we have or that's in the community that we can help make home ownership possible or give the people a place to stay. Low-income people in housing right now, it's a challenge. HUD says 3-family bedroom, average rent you can charge is $1,200. That's not a easy task to come up with $1,200, but that's what they set for a 3-bedroom. If we take some of these houses and we fix them up at a $100,000 mortgage, that's only $700 with a mortgage. So I ask you as the Blight Committee, I will work with you with any structure that we can repair the foundation and renovate the house, that you invite me to the table and we do this. You're familiar with houses that I've had, that I've taken off the blight list and I've fixed up. And I ask that you invite me to the table to continue to take houses off the blight list, renovate them, and make opportunities available for renters or homeowners. And with that, I thank you all for your time. Again, I'm Don Crenshaw. Most of you know me, but I am here to say today, it's a new year. It's 2024. Let's not arm wrestle and fight as we've done in the past. I know I have properties. I know I made the special television show of blighted properties, but if you look at all those blighted properties, the majority of them are code compliant, and I'll be asking for what's not code compliant so that we can get them removed off of the blighted list. But my goal is to build affordable housing and give people a place to stay. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
Any other public comment? None heard? All right, and have we received any correspondence?
No correspondence.
And no old business, nothing new for old business?
Secretary report?
You want to do secretary's
Yep.
report? All right.
All right, so Secretary's report for January. 261 properties are currently on the blighted property list. Prior to Christmas, the Redevelopment Authority received correspondence from the courts on 14 properties, so those will be moving through the process. An additional 40 blighted properties currently sit in the condemnation process awaiting their day in court or whatever the next outcome for that would be determined on that process. Also, given that it is a new year, I just kind of want to go through with the board or the committee what the Blighted Property Review Committee is and how it serves the city of Erie, just to clarify that side of it. If I can share this one. All right, so the Blighted Property Review Committee was created in 1994 as the Vacant Property Review Committee pursuant to the Urban Redevelopment Law, which is an act that created redevelopment authorities across the state of Pennsylvania. The urban redevelopment law was amended in 2002, which changed it from the vacant property review committee to the blighted property review committee, to which it is today. So how the blighted property review committee operates and how it is structured and its governance of blighted property is governed under the urban redevelopment law. It is made up of 9 voting members, 1 city council person who has a vote on the committee, the executive director of the redevelopment authority, a representative of the city planning commission, the mayor of the city of Erie or his or her designee, a mayoral designee, and 4 adult citizens of the city of Erie to be appointed by city council for 2-year terms. So that makes up our 9 members. The BPRC is a majority citizen committee. So the majority votes on this are of citizen members. Non-voting members, of course, make up of the city housing officer, code enforcement manager, fire department, police department, and tax claim bureau of the county. We meet once a month, second Monday of every month at 9 a.m. The committee votes on properties presented by the Bureau of Code Enforcement. The committee determines the properties indeed meet one of the 9 criteria. So as a committee member, I just want to remind you that you're voting to determine whether that property meets one of the 9 criteria. Those aren't criteria that the Blighted Property Review Committee that sits here can make. Those are outlined specifically within the urban redevelopment law. That is something that was designed within that process, and those are the 9 criteria that the BPRC specifically is weighing on Mike's testimony as he presents those properties, whether they do in fact meet one of those 9 criteria. To be declared blighted, a property only has to meet one of those criteria, even though, as we know from historically, most of those properties meet 2, 3, several of those criteria throughout this process. So this is the criteria. It's any premise which, because of physical condition or use regarded as a public nuisance, a common law has been declared a public nuisance. Any premise which is physical condition or use of occupancy is considered an attractive nuisance to children. Any dwelling to which is dilapidated, unsafe, unsanitary, vermin infested. Any structure which is a fire hazard. Any structure which the utilities, plumbing, heating, sewage, or other facilities have been disconnected or destroyed. Any vacant or unimproved lot or parcel of ground, neighborhood by which reason to neglect. Any unoccupied. So then these 2 that are underlined, these are in conversations with Mike, the 2 that almost every property qualifies for. And so that would be any unoccupied property which has been tax delinquent for a period of 2 years prior to the effective date of this act, and those in the future having 2 years tax delinquency, and any property which is vacant but not tax delinquent, which has not been rehabilitated within 1 year of receipt of a notice of violation from the appropriate code enforcement agency. So as these properties come before the BPRC, just to remind you that they have gone through the code enforcement process. There has been the opportunity for voluntary compliance by all of the property owners. There has been many times numerous notice of violations. As Mike presents his information, he outlines how many, when violations started and where we've gotten to. So there's been communication, there's been attempts to remediate these issues, and these properties have come to this point where they meet the criteria to be presented in front of the BPRC today or at any meeting. And then any abandoned property that shall be considered abandoned if any of those criteria are met. So just kind of wanted to provide an update as far as that goes. Thank you. Any questions? Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, moving on to new business. You're up, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. First up, we have 908 East 26th Street. This property's been with the current owner since 2009. The original case, we started dealing with this in 2017, where there was a junk and debris notice sent. We sent notices in March of 18. They were cited with a quality of life ticket in May of 2019. There were another attempts at notices sent, 2 notices, 2 different case violations sent in August of 22. And then also we tried again, we posted it uninhabitable due to lack of utilities in August of 23. They were cited last December. Those results are outstanding, and it's been issued a repair demo order. The taxes are delinquent from 2021 to 2023 over $4,000. The water's been off since June 8th of 23. And it's been shut off a couple times because there's suspected tampering. The water authority shut it off. The occupants somehow found the key and turned it back on. They had to go back out and dig up the box and put a lock on the box somehow. There is no electricity. They were, EPD was there because there was a generator in the back that they were running, causing a disturbance to the neighborhood. There's a water lien on it, and there's $475 owed to the water authority for water, and $1,266 owed for sewer and garbage. We believe so the neighbors next door say that people come in and out of there. We cannot determine if it's owner occupied or if they're trespassers, but it is uninhabitable and there are still people coming in and out of there.
Thank you, Mike. Do I have a motion to blight?
I'll move to Blight.
Thank you, Dave. Second?
I'll
Rich?
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have 454 East 10th Street. The current owners have owned it since September of 2016. The original case started in 2006 with the previous owner. There are two houses on one parcel with the same address. There's a front and back house. With the current owner, the recent case has started in October of 2020. We sent notices in October of 2020, September of 21, March of 22. In December of last year, it was posted uninhabitable. The fire department was caused there for a disturbance in the back. There are no utilities onto it. There were fire hazards in the back house, which is why the Erie Fire Department was called. There's no gas, no electric. There is a water lien on this. The water's been off. The water is not off yet, but it's scheduled to be off. I guess they had some issues shutting it off when they first went out there. The taxes are owed from 2022 to 2023 over $4,700. The water, sewer, and garbage, there's $656 owed for water and $3,575 owed for sewer and garbage. This is one, the police were just there yesterday for another overdose. We're not sure who the occupants are, if it's owner occupied, but we think people are coming and going and there's suspected drug activity inside the house.
Thank you, Mike.
And Mike, just for clarification, we are blighting the parcel, which includes both
Yeah,
structures.
so I'm presenting both houses, one parcel, one address. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Do I have a
Motion to blight,
motion to
Aaron.
blight? Rich?
I will move to Blight.
Oh, second, Aaron.
Aaron. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have 3229 French Street. This one, we initially thought the owner was deceased because there are several people with the same name when we looked up obituaries, but he is not deceased. He is alive. We thought it was vacant, but he does live there. He's owned it since 2009, but it hasn't had
Mike,
water
which one
since
are you on? I'm sorry.
3229 French.
Okay.
But he hasn't had water since 2014. The original case started with the previous owner in 2002, and 2007, and 2008. The current owner, our case history starts back in May of 2010. He was cited in August of 2010, and that citation was never answered, so it was left outstanding. There were notices sent in June of 13, June of 16. They were cited again in July of 16 for partial compliance. Let me see where. Okay, so then there was another case open in 2018, and notices were sent. In March of 19, we tried to get him hooked up with some type of funding or assistance, and he was not receptive to that. Nothing happened. And they were cited again in June of 19, and those results were outstanding because a plea was never answered. In October of 19, there was another case started, which resulted in a citation later that month. And that's right when COVID hit, so all of those citations for this house kind of got lost, so to speak, because the district justice's office closed and the cases kind of got lapsed. So then another case was cited in September of 21, and he was cited again at the end of September of 21. There's a current case open from August of '23 and a repair demo order issued from January of this month. There are water liens on this. There's $474 owed in water and $1,031 owed in sewer and garbage. The back taxes from '22 to '23 are $4,604. There's been minor attempts at repairs over several years. There's a hole in the roof. The gutters and downspouts are off, and there's no running water in the house. The neighbors call us to complain. They claim there's drug activity in the house as well as what they suspect.
We do receive numerous complaints on this property from the neighbors. Okay, do I have a motion to blight?
I'll move to Blight.
Second?
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And those are our properties for this month. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, do
Can
I have
I
a motion to,
Just one comment that I forgot to mention during my secretary's report, and really more for anybody watching, is that the blight designation does not transfer ownership of the property. The property is still owned by the individual who still currently owns it. It just places a lien on the property that designates the property as blighted and prohibits the transfer of that property. If they pull a title search to transfer the property, our lien from the Blighted Property Review Committee is found, and then they reach out to determine how they can remove that lien from the property. So, but it is still privately owned and privately held by the individual.
If I could add to that too, it also, because I get calls a lot, it does not automatically designate this property for demolition. That's a misconception that once it's blighted, the property is demolished. A lot of the properties that are blighted and condemned, which is a later stage of this, are demolished, but not all of them.
Thank you.
thank you. Motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Second, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye.